Emily stands in the kitchen doorway, arms folded across her chest, chin lifted, voice dangerously calm. I don't know what you put in that bathroom, Emily, but my face is on fire. Nathan storms in from the hallway, one hand pressed to his cheek, eyes blazing. Nathan, I clean bathrooms, I don't booby-trap them. She turns back to the counter without flinching, stirring her coffee like the conversation is already over. Then explain why my skin is burning right now. He stepped closer, pointing at his reddened cheek, voice rising. I use the same products every morning. Maybe your skin is finally reacting to your personality. She doesn't look up. The corner of her mouth twitches. Not quite a smile, but close enough to be dangerous. Something is wrong in Nathan Caldwell's penthouse. Something that has been wrong for a long time. But Nathan, at 34, successful, charming, and entirely too comfortable with his own reflection, has never been the kind of man who looks closely enough at the things right in front of him. The penthouse sits on the 20th floor of a glass tower in the heart of Houston's Midtown district. Floor-to-ceiling windows, imported marble countertops, a kitchen that belongs in an architecture magazine. Nathan built his wealth through a mid-sized logistics company he launched at 27, and he wears that success the way some men wear cologne. Everywhere, always, slightly too much. He has a personal trainer, a tailor on speed dial, and a rotation of women whose names his best friend Derek can barely keep track of. Bro, I genuinely cannot keep up, Derek says one afternoon, lounging across Nathan's sectional sofa with a protein shake in hand. He waves the bottle lazily in the air, grinning like the situation is the funniest thing he has encountered all week. Wasn't it Ashley last week? Now you're bringing home a Jasmine? Nathan straightened his collar in the hallway mirror, unbothered, the ghost of a smirk on his face. I'm just enjoying life, Derek. Nothing wrong with that. Derek sits up slightly, lowering his voice with mock seriousness. Enjoying life? Man, your dating life has a body count, and I don't mean that in a good way. Nathan laughs it off, but the truth he hasn't examined closely enough is that every woman who walks through his front door seems to leave before sunrise. Not because of him, at least not directly. Something always happens, a smell, a noise, a discovery. Last month, a woman named Cassandra left at 2 a.m. screaming about cockroaches in the guest bed sheets. The month before that, a woman named Priya said she felt like she was being watched and refused to spend the night. Before Priya, there was Taylor, who found something unidentifiable smeared on her toothbrush and didn't stop texting Nathan furious messages for a week. Nathan has noticed the pattern. He just hasn't wanted to name it yet. Emily Hartley has worked in Nathan's penthouse for 3 years. She is 29, precise and quietly efficient in the way that makes a person easy to overlook. She arrives at 7 every morning in a pressed uniform, keeps the apartment in immaculate condition, manages the grocery orders, monitors the building's maintenance requests, and fades into the background of Nathan's life so seamlessly that there are days he forgets she's there. That invisibility, as it turns out, is both her shield and her wound. Emily smooths a fresh set of white sheets across the guest bed, her movements slow and deliberate, her expression unreadable. Mr. Caldwell has a guest arriving tonight, she murmurs to herself, pressing each corner with quiet precision. She pauses at the pillow, fingers resting on the fabric just a moment too long, jaw tightening almost imperceptibly before she steps back. She knows about Jasmine. She has known since Nathan mentioned it 3 days ago. She has had 3 days to prepare the guest room, and she has. Jasmine arrives at 8 that evening, tall, confident, wearing a burnt orange wrap dress that catches the light. She shakes Emily's hand at the door with a warm smile. Emily smiles back, eyes pleasant, posture perfectly professional. Welcome. Can I get you anything? Water, wine, a tour of the apartment? Jasmine glances around the penthouse appreciatively, relaxing her shoulders. This place is stunning. You must love working here. Emily's smile holds exactly 1 beat too long. It's home. Just after midnight, the screaming starts. Jasmine bursts out of the guest room, hand clutched to her chest, voice shaking. "There are roaches! Nathan, there are roaches in that bed! I felt them! They were crawling!" Nathan rushes out of his room, hair disheveled, face tight with confusion and embarrassment. That's not possible. This apartment is treated every month." Jasmine is already grabbing her bag from the hallway chair, hands trembling, voice hard with finality. "I don't care. I'm leaving." She's gone by 12:15. The guest room, when Nathan inspects it himself, is spotless. No roaches, no evidence, just cool, clean sheets and the faint scent of the lavender spray Emily uses on every surface. Nathan stands in the doorway of that guest room for a long time. Then he walks slowly to the kitchen, where Emily is calmly washing a single glass at the sink, even though it is past midnight and she has no reason to be there. He leans against the doorframe, studying her, voice quiet and measured. Emily. She doesn't turn around immediately. When she does, her expression is open, neutral, faintly concerned. "Is everything all right, Mr. Caldwell?" He watches her face for a long moment, jaw set. "This house doesn't seem to like my guests." She tilts her head slightly, something flashing behind her eyes before it disappears. "Some houses are particular about who belongs in them." She sets the glass down carefully, dries her hands, and walks past him towards the door. "Good night, Nathan." He watches her go, and for the first time in 3 years, he finally starts to look closely at the thing that has been right in front of him all along. But what he's about to find, what the cameras in his own building have quietly recorded, will destroy every version of this story he has been telling himself. If you're enjoying this story, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more interesting stories. Nathan sits at his kitchen island the next morning, coffee untouched, eyes fixed on Emily as she wipes down the counter with slow, methodical strokes. "Emily, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest with me." She sets the cloth down and turns to face him, hands clasped in front of her, expression patient. "Of course, Mr. Caldwell." He leans forward, elbows on the marble, voice low. "Did you put something in that guest room last night?" A long pause. Her eyes don't waver. Her chin lifts just slightly. "I prepared the guest room exactly as I always do." He holds her gaze, searching. "That's not what I asked." She doesn't answer. She picks up the cloth and resumes wiping the counter. And Nathan, for the second time in 12 hours, lets it go. That is his greatest flaw. Not cruelty, not arrogance, but avoidance. He sees the edges of uncomfortable truths and steps carefully around them, telling himself there is nothing there. But the women keep leaving. Over the following 3 weeks, 2 more arrive and 2 more disappear before sunrise. The first is a woman named Brianna. Sharp-witted, confident, the kind of woman who laughs loudly and takes up space without apologizing for it. She arrives on a Friday evening with a bottle of red wine and leaves at 3 in the morning after telling Nathan in a shaking voice that someone knocked on her door twice, and when she opened it, the hallway was empty. The second is a woman named Monique, a colleague of Nathan's who has liked him quietly for 2 years. She lasts until 11:30 p.m. when she finds what appears to be a dead insect pressed flat between the pages of the book on her nightstand, a book she brought herself from her own bag, which she set down for less than 20 minutes while she used the bathroom. Derek sits across from Nathan at a restaurant booth, fork suspended mid-air, face caught between laughter and genuine concern. "Bro, a bug inside her own book." Nathan runs a hand over his face, jaw tight. "I know how it sounds." Derek sets the fork down slowly, dropping the humor. "Nathan, it sounds like somebody in your house doesn't want you to have a girlfriend." Nathan looks out the window, silent for a bit too long. "I know." That same week, Emily shows up to work in something that stops Nathan mid-sentence. It is not inappropriate, not technically. It is simply a fitted blouse tucked into tailored trousers, her hair down instead of pinned back, a trace of perfume where there was never perfume before. She moves through the kitchen with the same quiet efficiency, but something about the image has shifted, and Nathan cannot locate the before version of her quickly enough to pretend the difference doesn't register. He stands in the kitchen doorway, coffee mug halfway to his lips, blinking. "You look different today." Emily glances up from the cutting board, expression neutral, but her eyes hold something careful and deliberate. "I just wore my hair down." He nods slowly, looking away. Right. He doesn't bring it up again, but the image stays with him longer than it should. The real explosion comes 6 days later in the form of a woman named Yvonne. Yvonne is self-possessed, direct, and entirely unintimidated by Emily's particular brand of quiet hostility. When Emily meets her at the door and asks, with perfect politeness, whether she plans to stay the night, Yvonne looks at her for a long moment before responding. "That's between me and Nathan, not me and the housekeeper." Emily's smile doesn't move, but something behind her eyes goes very still. "Of course, let me take your coat." By the end of the evening, war has been declared without a single raised voice. Emily twice interrupts her conversation in the living room with unnecessary questions about snack preferences and thermostat settings. When Yvonne asks to use Nathan's private bathroom rather than the guest one, Emily appears in the hallway before she reaches the door. Emily stands squarely in the corridor, arms at her sides, voice pleasant and immovable. The guest bathroom is fully stocked. Mr. Caldwell prefers his private space kept separate from visitors. Yvonne stops walking, eyes narrowing slowly. "Did Nathan tell you that?" Emily holds the eye contact without blinking. It's standard house protocol. Yvonne tells Nathan exactly what happened. He confronts Emily directly, and for the first time, her composure cracks, just slightly, just enough. Emily stands in the center of the kitchen, arms crossed, voice tight. "She was looking for something, Nathan, I could tell." Nathan's voice rises, frustration breaking through. "She was looking for the bathroom, Emily." Emily's eyes flash, jaw clenched. "She was also very interested in your nightstand, the one with the diamond necklace your mother left you." That stops him cold, because the necklace is real. A white gold chain with a small princess-cut diamond that belonged to his late mother, kept in a velvet box in his bedroom. He hasn't mentioned it to anyone in months. 2 days later, the necklace goes missing. Every eye in the penthouse turns to Emily. Nathan's building manager, a no-nonsense woman named Carol, is the one who finds it, tucked inside a zippered pocket of the large tote bag Emily carries to work. Emily is white-faced and shaking, insisting she has never touched it, insisting she doesn't know how it got there, insisting someone is setting her up. Emily's voice breaks, hands open and trembling at her sides. "Nathan, I swear to you, I did not take that. I would never." Nathan's face is unreadable, his voice frightening in its quiet. "Then how did it get in your bag, Emily?" Carol pulls up the CCTV footage on her laptop without a word and turns the screen to face the room. The footage is time-stamped, it is clear, and the person slipping the necklace into Emily's bag is not Emily at all. It is Nathan. The room goes absolutely silent. Nathan's face drains of color. Emily stares at the screen, then at him, her expression moving through shock, confusion, and something that looks devastatingly close to heartbreak. "Nathan." He steps back from the screen, one hand raised, voice barely above a whisper. "Emily, I can explain." She shakes her head slowly, eyes filling, voice dropping to almost nothing. "Why?" He sits down heavily in the nearest chair, and then, because there was nothing left to hide behind, he tells the truth. He planted the necklace, not to destroy her, not out of cruelty. He planted it because he needed an excuse to confront her, a reason to finally force the conversation he had been circling for months. Because he had seen it, he had seen all of it. The cockroaches that appeared and vanished, the knocking no one else heard, the bug in Brianna's book, the way Emily positioned herself between him and every woman who walked through his door. He knew. He had known for longer than he was willing to admit. But knowing and saying it out loud are two entirely different acts of courage. And Nathan Caldwell has never been particularly brave about the things that matter most. He looks up at her from the chair, voice stripped of every defense. I drove them away too, Emily. Every time I let it happen, every time I didn't stop you, I was making a choice. I just didn't know why you were making yours. Emily stands very still, tears sliding silently down her face, hands loose at her sides. I did it because I love you. I've loved you for 2 years, and every time you brought someone home, it felt like I was disappearing. He stands up slowly, taking one step toward her. I noticed you, Emily. I noticed you a long time. I just didn't know what to do with it. Carol quietly closes her laptop and leaves the room without a word. The penthouse is very still. Outside, Houston hums 28 floors below, traffic and city lights, and the ordinary noise of a world that doesn't know or care that two people are standing in a kitchen, finally being honest with each other for the very first time. Neither of them speaks for a long moment. They don't need to. Some truths, once spoken, don't need to be repeated. They just need to be heard. What part of this story shocked you the most? Let me know in the comments. The moral? Emily's love was real, but love expressed through control, sabotage, and silence will always cost more than it protects. And Nathan's avoidance was its own kind of dishonesty. The lesson here is simple but not easy. Say the true thing before it turns into something destructive. Feelings kept in the dark don't stay quiet. They find other ways to speak. If you care about someone, give that feeling a voice before it becomes a wound. Honesty, even when it is frightening, is always kinder than the chaos of staying silent. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. And please tell us in the comments where you're watching from.